The massive space station hung in the void like a glittering jewel. Marcus Chen pressed his face against the small window of the human transport ship and watched the Galactic Council station grow larger. It was beautiful in a way that took his breath away. Thousands of lights twinkled across its surface, and ships from dozens of different worlds moved around it like busy insects. "First time seeing something like this?" asked Captain Rodriguez from behind him. Marcus nodded. "It's incredible. Hard to believe we're really here," the captain smiled. 3 years ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now look at us, about to sit down with aliens and talk business." Marcus adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses and straightened his simple black suit. He looked exactly like what he was supposed to be, a quiet, middle-aged diplomat from Earth. His brown hair was starting to turn gray at the edges, and he had the soft look of someone who spent most of his time reading reports instead of exercising. The docking process took an hour. Marcus spent the time reviewing his files one more time. Earth needed these trade agreements. The planet was running out of several key resources, and the promise of alien technology could solve many problems. But more than that, humanity needed allies. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and Earth was still very new to space travel. When the airlock finally opened, Marcus stepped into the station for the first time. The air smelled different, not bad, just strange. There was a hint of something like cinnamon mixed with metal. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth normal, making each step feel bouncy. A tall, blue-skinned alien waited for him. The creature had 4 arms and eyes that were completely black. When it spoke, its voice came through a small device hanging around its neck. "Welcome, human diplomat. I am Assistant Administrator Crix. I will show you to your quarters." Marcus bowed slightly. "Thank you. I'm Ambassador Marcus Chen, representing Earth and humanity." Crix made a sound that might have been laughter. "Yes, we know who you are. The Council is very curious about your species." As they walked through the station corridors, Marcus saw aliens everywhere. Some looked almost human except for different skin colors or extra limbs. Others were so strange he couldn't figure out how they moved or breathed. Flying creatures with crystal wings shared the halls with rolling balls of fur that somehow had voices. The diversity was amazing, but Marcus noticed something else. When the aliens saw him, they stared. Some pointed. A few made sounds that his translator couldn't decode, but their body language suggested amusement. "Are humans really so unusual?" Marcus asked Crix. "Not unusual. Just young. Your species only discovered faster than light travel 3 years ago. Most civilizations need centuries to develop such technology. The Council finds it interesting that you managed it so quickly." They reached Marcus's quarters, a small but comfortable room with a bed, desk, and viewing port. Crix handed him a small device. "This is your translator and communicator. Tomorrow morning you will meet with the preliminary committee. They will decide if you are worthy to address the full council." After Crix left, Marcus sat on the bed and looked out the viewing port. Space stretched endlessly in all directions, filled with more stars than he could count. Somewhere out there was Earth, looking very small and fragile. He opened his briefcase and pulled out his notes. Earth's negotiating position was weak, and he knew it. Humanity had very little to offer except raw materials and a willingness to work hard. What they needed was protection, technology, and time to grow stronger. The next morning, Marcus put on his best suit and made his way to the meeting room. The preliminary committee consisted of 5 aliens, each more impressive than the last. There was a reptilian creature covered in golden scales, a being that looked like living liquid metal, something that might have been a plant with too many eyes, a furry giant with tusks, and a thin humanoid with silver skin. "So," said the reptilian in a voice like grinding stone, "you are the human. I am Ambassador Chen." "Yes. And you believe your species deserves a place in galactic civilization?" Marcus opened his folder. "Humanity brings several advantages to any partnership. We are quick learners, adaptable, and have a strong work ethic. Our planet has abundant natural resources, and we are eager to contribute to galactic peace and prosperity." The silver-skinned alien laughed. "Natural resources. How primitive. Do you have any technology worth trading?" "We are developing several promising technologies, but we admit we are behind most galactic civilizations in many areas." "Behind?" The liquid metal being's voice sounded like music. "Human, you are not behind. You are barely crawling. Your ships are crude, your weapons are toys, and your science is the level of children playing with blocks." Marcus felt his jaw tighten, but he kept his voice calm. "We all have to start somewhere. We hope that through cooperation and trade we can learn and grow. The plant creature's many eyes focused on him. What makes you think we want your cooperation? What could you possibly offer that we need? Friendship, Marcus said simply. A new perspective. Fresh ideas. Humanity may be young, but we have survived and thrived on a dangerous world. We have something to contribute, the furry giant snorted. Dangerous world? Human. There are gas clouds in space more dangerous than your little planet. There are creatures that eat stars for breakfast. Your world is a peaceful garden compared to real dangers. Perhaps, Marcus agreed. But we have learned to work together to solve problems and to never give up. Those qualities have value. The committee members looked at each other. Marcus could sense their amusement, though he couldn't read their alien expressions clearly. Very well, said the reptilian. We will recommend that you be allowed to address the full council. But understand this, the council does not negotiate with equals. If you want galactic citizenship, you must prove your worth. And frankly, we see very little worth in your species. Marcus nodded. I understand. Thank you for the opportunity. After the meeting, Marcus walked through the station's observation deck. The view of space was magnificent, but he felt troubled. The committee's attitude had been worse than he expected. They didn't just see humanity as weak. They saw humans as barely worth noticing. An alien approached him. Another blue-skinned being like Crix, but smaller. You are the human diplomat? It asked. Yes. I am Zix, a junior administrator. I wanted to apologize for the committee's rudeness. Not all of us see your species as worthless. Marcus smiled. Thank you. That's kind of you to say. I have studied your species' history. You have accomplished much in a short time, and your planet's location is strategically important. Several powerful factions have noticed. What do you mean? Zix looked around nervously. The Zephyrian Empire has been expanding aggressively. They see Earth as a potential colony world. If the Council rejects your application for membership, you will have no protection under galactic law. Marcus felt a chill. I see. Be careful in the Council session tomorrow. Chancellor Vextar leads the Zephyrian delegation, and he has little patience for species he considers inferior. That night, Marcus lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Earth was counting on him, but the situation was worse than anyone had imagined. Humanity wasn't just seeking trade agreements. They were fighting for survival. He closed his eyes and tried to sleep, but his mind kept working. Tomorrow he would address the full Galactic Council. He would have one chance to convince them that humanity deserved to exist as a free species. Marcus Chen, mild-mannered diplomat from Earth, had no idea that tomorrow would change the galaxy forever. The council chamber was enormous. Marcus stood at the center of a vast circular room, surrounded by rising tiers of seats filled with hundreds of alien beings. The ceiling stretched up so high it disappeared into darkness, and holographic displays floated in the air showing data streams in dozens of alien languages. Marcus had never felt so small. His simple black suit and briefcase seemed pathetic compared to the advanced technology surrounding him. Some council members wore armor that glowed with inner light. Others had cybernetic implants that pulsed with energy. A few weren't even solid. They appeared as clouds of gas or energy patterns that somehow maintained consciousness. At the highest level of the chamber sat the council leadership. In the center was Chancellor Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire. The Zephyrian was massive, nearly 8 feet tall, with dark red skin covered in natural armor plates. His forearms ended in clawed hands, and his yellow eyes glowed with intelligence and cruelty. When he spoke, his voice boomed through the chamber without any need for amplification. So, Vexitar began, the humans have sent us their representative. How amusing. Laughter rippled through sections of the chamber. Marcus straightened his shoulders and tried to project confidence he didn't feel. Honorable Chancellor, members of the Galactic Council, I come before you as Ambassador Marcus Chen, speaking for all humanity. We seek friendship, trade, and a place in galactic civilization. Friendship? Vextar's voice dripped with contempt. What could a species that has barely learned to leave its own star system offer us in friendship? Marcus opened his briefcase and pulled out a data pad. Earth has abundant natural resources. We have metals, crystals, and biological compounds that may be useful. Our people are hardworking and eager to learn. We ask only for the chance to prove ourselves. A serpentine alien from the middle tiers spoke up. Human, your entire planet's resources could be extracted by automated mining ships in less than a year. Your people's labor is worthless when we have machines that work faster and never tire. What else do you offer? Marcus felt sweat forming on his forehead. We offer our creativity, our different perspective, our willingness to contribute to galactic peace. The chamber erupted in laughter. Vexter raised one of his hands for silence. Peace? Human. You come from a world that has known continuous warfare for its entire history. You fight over everything, land, resources, ideas, even the color of your skin. And you speak to us of peace? We have learned from our mistakes, Marcus replied. We have grown beyond those conflicts. Have you? Vextar activated a holographic display showing Earth's recent history. Images of wars, pollution, and violence filled the air above Marcus. This data was collected just 3 years ago. Your species still fights itself over trivial matters. Marcus watched the images with growing anger. Yes, humanity had problems, but they were working to solve them. And these aliens were showing only the worst examples, not the countless acts of kindness, creativity, and cooperation that defined most human interactions. Every species has a difficult past, Marcus said carefully. What matters is our potential for growth. Growth? Vextar stood, his massive form casting a shadow over Marcus. Human, let me explain your situation clearly. Your species is primitive, violent, and worthless. You have nothing we want and nothing we need. The only question is whether we should bother with trade agreements or simply take what resources your planet has to offer. The chamber fell silent. Marcus felt something cold forming in his chest. I'm sorry, Chancellor, but I don't understand. Are you threatening Earth? Threatening? No, human. I'm explaining reality. Your planet sits in a strategically valuable location. Your system has asteroid belts rich in rare minerals. Your world itself could serve as an agricultural center once properly terraformed. The question is whether your species will cooperate as workers under Zephyrian guidance, or whether we will need to clear the planet for more useful inhabitants. Marcus's hands began to shake. The Galactic Council allows member species to colonize inhabited worlds? The Galactic Council protects member species, said a crystalline being from the upper tiers. Non-member species have no such protection. Then humanity requests membership in the Galactic Council. Vextar laughed, a sound like breaking stone. Membership must be earned, human. It requires unanimous approval from the Council leadership, and I see no reason to grant membership to a species that offers nothing of value. Marcus looked around the chamber. He saw amusement, boredom, and contempt, but no sympathy. These beings had already decided humanity's fate. Please, Marcus said, give us time. Let us prove ourselves. Time? Vexter stepped down from his platform and began walking toward Marcus. Human, you misunderstand your situation. This is not a negotiation. This is an announcement. The Zephyrian Empire will assume stewardship of your world within the next galactic year. Your species will be relocated to work camps where you can contribute productively to galactic civilization. The cold feeling in Marcus's chest spread outward. You mean slavery? We prefer the term guided development. Your species will learn proper behavior under Zephyrian supervision. Marcus took a deep breath. And if humanity refuses? Vextar was now only a few feet away, towering over the human diplomat. Then your species will be removed from your world entirely. Do not mistake this for cruelty, human. We are offering you a chance to survive. Many species in your situation receive no such opportunity. I see. Marcus's voice was very quiet now. And nothing I say will change your mind? Nothing. Your species is weak, primitive, and beneath our notice except as a minor resource to be managed. Marcus nodded slowly. Thank you for your honesty, Chancellor. Good. I am pleased you understand your place. Vextar turned to address the chamber. The human petition for membership is denied. The Zephyrian Empire will file proper territorial claims for the Sol system within the standard time period. Actually, Marcus said softly, I don't think you understand the situation at all. Vextar turned back irritated. What did you say? I said you don't understand the situation. Marcus was looking down at his hands, which had stopped shaking. You see, Chancellor, you just made a very serious mistake. Did I? And what mistake is that, little human? Marcus looked up and several council members gasped. His eyes were beginning to glow with a soft white light. You threatened Earth, Marcus said simply. You threatened humanity, and you did it in front of witnesses. Vextar snarled and gestured to his guards. Enough of this nonsense. Remove this creature from my sight. 2 Zephyrian warriors stepped forward, their energy weapons powering up. The chamber watched with interest as they aimed at the human diplomat. "You should probably not do that," Marcus said conversationally. The guards fired. The energy beam struck Marcus directly in the chest and passed right through him without effect. The weapon's discharge struck the far wall, leaving scorch marks on the ancient metal. Vextar stared. "What? How?" Marcus straightened up, and suddenly he seemed larger than before. The air around him began to shimmer with heat that had no source. "My name is Marcus Chen," he said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber without amplification. "I am a diplomat representing humanity before the Galactic Council. I came here hoping for peace." The shimmer around Marcus intensified. Several council members were backing away from their seats. "I am also," Marcus continued, his voice becoming something that bypassed the ears and spoke directly to the mind, "one of the beings your ancestors called the Doom. And Chancellor Vexitar, you just declared war on my protected species." The last words echoed through the chamber with a sound like the universe itself cracking. Vexitar, the mighty leader of the Zephyrian Empire, took a step backward. "Impossible," he whispered. Marcus smiled, and reality began to bend around him. The council chamber had become completely silent. Not just quiet, silent in a way that seemed to absorb sound itself. Even the constant hum of the station's life support systems had stopped. The only thing anyone could hear was their own heartbeat, assuming they had hearts. Marcus Chen stood in the center of the chamber, but he was no longer the mild-mannered diplomat who had walked in an hour ago. His human form was still there, but it flickered like a bad hologram. Sometimes he looked normal. Sometimes the space around him bent and twisted, showing glimpses of something vast and terrible that existed in dimensions the mind couldn't process. Chancellor Vexitar had fallen to his knees. The mighty Zephyrian leader, conqueror of 17 star systems, was shaking like a child afraid of the dark. "Doom," he whispered. "The stories, they were real." Marcus tilted his head, and the motion somehow contained more meaning than entire libraries of philosophy. "Oh yes, Chancellor. The stories were very real, though I suspect they've been changed quite a bit over the millennia. We didn't know," Vexitar stammered. "Of course you didn't." Marcus's voice was gentle now, which somehow made it more terrifying than if he had been angry. That was the point. Humanity was supposed to develop naturally, without interference. We were supposed to remain hidden until they no longer needed our protection. An ancient alien in the upper tiers, one of the few beings old enough to remember the legends, found its voice. The Guardians. The Shapers. The ones who walked between stars before the first civilizations learned to make fire. "We have many names," Marcus agreed, though Doom seems to be the most popular these days. "I've never understood why. We've always been quite reasonable." He gestured casually, and every weapon in the chamber, from personal sidearms to the massive defensive systems built into the station itself, simply stopped working. Not broken, not damaged. They just forgot how to function. "Let me tell you a story," Marcus said, beginning to walk slowly around the chamber. With each step, his human disguise became clearer, more solid, but the wrongness in the air around him only grew stronger. 65,000 years ago, give or take a few centuries, something happened to Earth. A disaster that should have ended all life on the planet. But it didn't, because we were there. We had been watching the early humans for some time. Such an interesting species, full of potential but so very fragile. The chamber's environmental systems restarted suddenly, causing several council members to jump, but the air they now breathed carried a scent of something ancient and impossible. "We saved them," Marcus continued, "helped them survive the catastrophe, guided them through the dark times that followed. Not directly. We learned long ago that direct intervention stunts growth. But we watched. We protected. We ensured that no outside force would interfere with their development." A brave council member from the middle tiers spoke up. "But humans never knew you existed, didn't they?" Marcus smiled. "Every human culture has stories of beings of immense power who watch over them. Angels, gods, spirits, guardians, they knew. They just assumed we were metaphors or imagination. Much safer that way." Vexitar found enough courage to stand, though he kept his distance. "How many of you are there?" "On Earth? Currently about 40 of us in various forms. Throughout human space. More than you might expect. We've been taking jobs in the diplomatic corps, the military, the merchant marine, anywhere humans might encounter threats beyond their ability to handle." Marcus stopped walking and turned to face Vextar directly. Did you really think, Chancellor, that a species could develop faster than light travel in just a few decades? Humans are brilliant, but that kind of breakthrough requires either centuries of development or assistance. The implications hit the chamber like a physical blow. Several species had built their expansion plans around the assumption that humans were primitive and defenseless. You've been manipulating human development, accused a crystalline. Protecting, Marcus corrected. There's a difference. We gave them nothing they couldn't have discovered themselves eventually. We simply ensured they discovered it before their enemies found them. Enemies? The word came from multiple council members at once. Marcus's expression darkened, and the temperature in the chamber dropped 10 degrees. Oh yes, humanity has enemies. Species that saw Earth's potential and planned to claim it before humans could defend themselves. The Zephyrian Empire, for instance. Vextar stepped backward. We had no knowledge of your protection. Our expansion into the Sol system was legitimate under galactic law. Galactic law. Marcus repeated the words as if they tasted funny. Let me explain something about galactic law, Chancellor. It exists because we allow it to exist. This council, this station, the entire structure of galactic civilization. It all continues to function because beings like me find it useful to maintain stability. He gestured at the chamber around them. Do you know how old this station is? 3,000 years. Do you know how many times it should have been destroyed by wars, accidents, or simple entropy? 17 times. But it's still here, isn't it? The ancient alien spoke again, its voice trembling. The Shapers maintain the foundation. Among other things, we keep the hyperspace lanes stable. We ensure that certain weapons of mass destruction never quite work correctly. We make sure that aggressive species encounter unexpected difficulties when they expand too quickly. Marcus's smile was razor sharp. We maintain the balance, but why? Vextar demanded. Why protect one species above all others? Marcus considered the question seriously. Humans are special, Chancellor. Not because they're superior, they're not. Not because they're perfect, they're very far from perfect. They're special because they have the potential to become something genuinely new in the galaxy. He began walking again, his steps echoing strangely in the vast chamber. Most species follow predictable patterns. They develop technology, expand their territory, fight wars, build empires, and eventually stagnate or destroy themselves. Humans are different. They adapt, they grow. They change themselves in fundamental ways when they need to. And you want to see what they become, the crystalline being said with understanding. We want to see what they choose to become. Marcus corrected, without interference from species like the Zephyrian Empire. Vextar's anger overcame his fear. So you condemn my people to protect yours? I condemn no one, Chancellor. But you attacked a human diplomat under diplomatic immunity. You threatened an entire species with slavery and genocide. You declared war on humanity in front of hundreds of witnesses. Marcus's human disguise flickered, showing glimpses of something vast and terrible. These actions have consequences. What consequences? Vextar's voice was barely a whisper. Marcus looked around the chamber, making eye contact with every council member who was brave enough to meet his gaze. The protection protocols have been activated. Every one of my kind currently embedded in galactic civilization has been notified. As of this moment, any action taken against humanity or human interests will be met with appropriate response. What does that mean? Demanded a spherical alien that floated near the ceiling. It means, Marcus said calmly, that humanity is no longer hiding behind diplomatic immunity and galactic law. They're under the direct protection of beings who helped shape the physical laws of this galaxy. The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. Species representatives began calculating how their own expansion plans might conflict with human interests. Trade agreements were mentally rewritten. Military campaigns were reconsidered. This changes everything, someone said. Marcus nodded. Yes, it does. And Chancellor Vextar, you're the one who changed it. I came here hoping for peace. I genuinely wanted to find a diplomatic solution. But you chose violence instead. He began walking toward the chamber exit. The council session is over. You have much to discuss. Wait, Vextar called out. What happens now? Marcus paused at the doorway. Now? Now you learn to live in a galaxy where humanity has friends in very high places. I suggest you adjust your plans accordingly. He walked out, leaving behind a chamber full of aliens trying to understand how completely their universe had just changed. The news spread through the galaxy faster than hyperspace communications should have allowed. Within hours, every major civilization knew that the Galactic Council had attacked a human diplomat and discovered he was one of the legendary Doom entities. Within days, the galaxy began to convulse as the implications became clear. Chancellor Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Conquest, watching his empire crumble in real time. The massive dreadnought hung in space above the Zephyrian homeworld, surrounded by what had been the most powerful fleet in the galaxy just a week ago. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, voice shaking, "the Third Fleet has stopped responding to commands." "Stopped responding how?" "Their ships won't move, sir. Engines are running, power systems are normal, but the vessels just sit there." The crews report that navigation systems display error messages they've never seen before. Vextar gripped the railing in front of him with enough force to leave claw marks in the metal. "What about the Seventh Fleet?" "Similar problems, sir. But worse. Their weapons won't charge. Every time they try to power up the main guns, the targeting computers display a message saying, 'Function not available in current context.'" It had been like this for 3 days. Across Zephyrian space, the mighty war machine that had conquered 17 star systems was simply stopping. Not breaking down, not being destroyed, just forgetting how to work. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from Admiral Korth's battle group." "Put it through." Admiral Korth's scared face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Vextar could see panic on the bridge of one of their most advanced warships. "Chancellor," Korth said, "we have a problem. A human ship approached our position 2 hours ago." "A human ship? What class?" "That's just it, sir. We don't know. Our sensors can see it, but they can't analyze it. When we try to scan the vessel, our computers just display the word no in every language our database contains." Vextar felt his blood chill. "Did they make demands?" "No, sir. They just sat there." Then our main computer received a message. "Just text, no audio or video." "What did it say?" Korth swallowed hard. "It said your attack on Ambassador Chen was noted. Please reconsider your current course of action. Signed, the management." "That's all?" "That's all, sir. But after the message arrived, none of our weapons would function. The ship is operational, the crew is unharmed, but we can't fight." Vextar closed the connection and turned to his senior staff. "Status report. All of it." His intelligence chief stepped forward. "Sir, it's not just our fleets. Similar incidents are being reported across the galaxy. Every species that expressed support for our expansion into human space is experiencing difficulties." "What kind of difficulties?" "The Corvin Alliance had their entire intelligence network forget how to encrypt messages. Every secret communication they've sent in the past month has been broadcast on public frequencies. The Thralix Consortium's banking system suddenly developed ethical subroutines that refuse to process transactions involving slavery or forced labor. The Nexus corporate fleet discovered that their mining equipment will no longer function on inhabited worlds." Vextar sank into his command chair. "How many species are affected?" 47 that we know of, sir. All species that either supported our claims on the Sol system or have been identified as potential threats to human expansion. And species that remain neutral? Completely unaffected. In fact, several have reported that their technology is working better than ever. The Valdris Republic says their hyperspace efficiency has improved by 30% overnight. The tactical officer looked up from his station. "Sir, we're receiving a priority message from the homeworld." "Put it through." The face of Prime Minister Zortha appeared on screen. The elderly Zephyrian looked like she had aged 10 years in the past week. "Vextar," she said without preamble, "I'm ordering you to return to the capital immediately. We need to discuss our response to this crisis." "What crisis?" "We can fix our ships, upgrade our systems. Can we?" Zortha's voice was sharp. "Our best engineers have been working around the clock. They can't find anything wrong with our technology. It simply refuses to work for military purposes against humans or their allies. But civilian systems work fine. Trade ships function normally. Even our police forces operate without problems, as long as they're maintaining order rather than preparing for war." Vextar felt something cold forming in his stomach. "What are you saying?" I'm saying we've been selectively neutralized by beings who understand our technology better than we do. And it's not just us. The entire galactic power structure is shifting. Another voice came from off-screen, Zortha's aide. Prime Minister, you need to see the latest intelligence reports. Zortha nodded and turned back to the screen. Vextar, human ships are appearing throughout the galaxy. Not invasion fleets, single vessels mostly. They're taking up positions at strategic points and just watching. How many ships? We don't know. Every time our long-range sensors detect one, the readings become garbled. But initial estimates suggest hundreds, possibly thousands. Vextar's tactical officer suddenly stood up. Sir, we have a contact. Single ship approaching from the direction of the Sol system. Human ship? Unknown, sir. Our sensors are giving the same response Admiral Korth reported. Visual? The main screen shifted to show a vessel that was clearly of human design, but unlike anything in their databases. It was sleek, elegant, and somehow seemed to exist in slightly more dimensions than normal space should allow. Sir, the communications officer said. We're being hailed. Answer it. The screen changed again, showing a human face. But this wasn't Marcus Chen. This was a woman, probably middle-aged, with graying hair and laugh lines around her eyes. She wore a simple uniform with no rank insignia. Chancellor Vextar, she said politely. My name is Captain Sarah Martinez, representing the Human Diplomatic Protection Service. I'm here to deliver a message. What message? Humanity appreciates your recent decision to cancel all military operations in the Sol system and surrounding sectors. We also acknowledge your commitment to reparations for the attack on Ambassador Chen. Vextar sputtered. We haven't made any such commitments. Captain Martinez checked a tablet in her hands. Oh, I'm sorry. According to our records, you will make those commitments in approximately 6 hours and 43 minutes. That's impossible. I would never— Chancellor, Martinez interrupted gently. Let me save us both some time. Your empire has two choices. You can voluntarily withdraw all military forces from sectors that might threaten human interests, pay appropriate reparations, and restructure your government to prevent future acts of aggression. Or what? Martinez smiled, and Vextar realized it was the same expression Marcus Chen had worn just before revealing his true nature. Or we can discuss this further after your fleet finishes forgetting how to operate in space. Your choice, Chancellor, but either way, the outcome will be the same. The screen went dark. Vextar sat in his command chair, staring at the blank display. Around him, his bridge crew waited for orders he didn't know how to give. Sir? His tactical officer finally asked. What are your instructions? Vextar looked out at the stars that had once seemed like easy conquests. Now they felt like the eyes of judges watching and waiting. Prepare a message to the homeworld, he said quietly. Tell them we need to discuss terms of surrender. Throughout the galaxy, similar conversations were taking place on 100 different ships. The age of easy conquest was over. Humanity had friends, and those friends were making their preferences very clear. The reckoning had begun. 6 months after the Council incident, as historians were already calling it, Ambassador Marcus Chen sat in his small apartment on Earth, watering his houseplants. The apartment was nothing special, a modest place in Geneva, with simple furniture and walls lined with books. Anyone walking by would see exactly what Marcus wanted them to see. A quiet diplomat enjoying some time off between assignments. Through his window, he could see the construction crews working on the new orbital defense platforms. Not that Earth needed defending anymore. The galaxy had made it very clear that attacking humanity was no longer an option. But the platforms served a different purpose. They were a reminder to visiting aliens that the peaceful world below was under the protection of forces beyond their understanding. Marcus finished watering his plants and picked up a book of poetry. He had just settled into his reading chair when his communication device chimed. Ambassador Chen, said a familiar voice. This is Director Hassan from the Diplomatic Corps. Are you available for a new assignment? Marcus smiled. Of course, Director. Where am I needed? The Andorian Trade Conference. The Andorians specifically requested you as Earth's representative. Any particular reason? There was a pause. Well, sir, after what happened at the Galactic Council, your reputation has evolved. Several species have expressed interest in negotiating directly with you. Marcus closed his book and looked out the window again. A Valdris trade ship was approaching the orbital stations, probably carrying the rare minerals that Earth needed for its expanding technology base. 6 months ago, the Valdris wouldn't have given humanity a second thought. Now they were eager trading partners. "I'll take the assignment," Marcus said. "When do I leave?" "Tomorrow morning, sir." "And Ambassador?" "The Andorians have already agreed to all our primary negotiating points. This should be a very straightforward mission." After the call ended, Marcus returned to his poetry, but he wasn't really reading. He was thinking about how much the galaxy had changed. The old Galactic Council had dissolved within a week of the incident. In its place, the new Galactic Assembly had formed with very different rules. Every species had an equal voice regardless of military power or technological advancement. Decisions were made by consensus rather than force, and somehow, despite all the chaos, the galaxy was more peaceful than it had been in centuries. Marcus's communication device chimed again. This time the caller ID showed a face he recognized. Captain Sarah Martinez. "Hello, Sarah," Marcus said. "How are things in the protection service?" "Quiet, mostly. A few species are still testing boundaries, but nothing serious. The Corvin tried to raid a human colony ship last week. Tried. Their weapons forgot how to lock onto human targets. Very embarrassing for them. They're sending an apology and reparations package." Marcus chuckled. "I take it the transition is going smoothly?" "Better than expected. Most species are adapting to the new reality pretty well. Trade with human worlds has increased by 400%. We're getting requests for cultural exchanges, technology sharing, even joint research projects." And the former Zephyrian Empire. Chancellor Vexitar was removed from power by his own people. The new government has been very cooperative. They've pulled back from all contested territories and are focusing on internal development. Apparently, they're trying to rebrand themselves as a peaceful agricultural confederation. Marcus nodded. It was better than he had hoped. "Any word from the others?" "We have 37 active protection service agents deployed throughout the galaxy, all maintaining their cover identities. Admiral Jackson is running fleet exercises with the Centauri Defense Force. Professor Williams is teaching xenobiology at the University on Kepler 442b. Dr. Patel just got promoted to head of medicine at the largest hospital in vegan space, and they're all maintaining the illusion. Perfectly. As far as anyone knows, they're just humans who happen to be very good at their jobs. Of course, it helps that human technology has suddenly become much more impressive." That was true. In the 6 months since the Council incident, human ships had become faster, more efficient, and more reliable. Human computers processed data with unprecedented speed. Human medical techniques were saving lives that other species had given up for lost. To outside observers, it looked like humanity was experiencing a technological renaissance. Only a few beings in the galaxy knew the truth that human technology worked better because it was being subtly guided by entities who understood the fundamental laws of physics at a level that made conventional science look like finger painting. "How are the humans handling their new status?" Marcus asked. "Better than expected." There was some initial confusion about why everyone suddenly wanted to be their friend, but they've adapted. The government is being very careful about new alliances and trade agreements. They don't want to abuse their newfound influence. Good. That's what I hoped would happen. "Marcus," Sarah's voice became more serious, "do you think we made the right choice? Revealing ourselves like this?" Marcus considered the question carefully. 6 months ago, humanity was about to be enslaved or exterminated by species that saw them as inferior. Today, they're equal partners in galactic civilization, with the freedom to grow and develop as they choose. Yes, I think we made the right choice. But we've changed the entire balance of power in the galaxy. "We've restored balance," Marcus corrected. "For too long might made right. Aggressive species conquered weaker ones. Technology was hoarded by the powerful, and entire civilizations were treated as resources to be exploited. Now every species has a chance to contribute to galactic civilization based on their merits, not their military strength." Sarah was quiet for a moment. "The other Doom entities? How do they feel about our new visibility? They understand the necessity. Humanity reached a critical point in their development. Either we protected them openly, or we risked losing them entirely. And if we had lost humanity..." Marcus didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Both he and Sarah knew what humanity represented. The first species in millions of years with the potential to transcend the normal patterns of galactic civilization. They were worth protecting, even if it meant abandoning the shadows. "I should go," Sarah said. "We're monitoring a situation in the Outer Rim. Some pirates thought they could raid human shipping lanes. I'm sure they'll learn better." "Oh yes." Their ships are about to discover that hyperspace navigation is much more complicated than they remembered. After Sarah signed off, Marcus returned to his poetry book. But his attention was drawn to the window again, where he could see another ship approaching Earth. This one flew the colors of the Thralix Consortium, a species that had once planned to strip mine the asteroid belt in the Sol system. Now they were coming to negotiate for the mineral rights, offering fair compensation and environmental protections. It was a good day to be human. Marcus read poetry until evening, then prepared dinner and watched the news. The lead story was about the grand opening of the new Human Cultural Center on the capital world of the former Zephyrian Empire. Representatives from dozens of species had attended, eager to learn about human art, music, and literature. As night fell over Geneva, Marcus prepared for bed. Tomorrow he would travel to the Andorian Trade Conference, where he would negotiate agreements that would benefit both species. He would be polite, professional, and diplomatic. To all appearances, he would be exactly what he seemed, a middle-aged human diplomat doing his job. And if any of the Andorians were tempted to threaten humanity or act with violence, they would discover what others had learned, that sometimes the most dangerous beings in the galaxy are the ones who choose to appear harmless. Marcus turned off the lights and looked out at the stars one last time. Somewhere out there, other humans were exploring the galaxy, making friends, learning new things, and slowly becoming something unprecedented in galactic history. A species that grew stronger through cooperation rather than conquest. It was, Marcus thought as he fell asleep, exactly what he had hoped humanity would become when he first started watching them 65,000 years ago. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.